Everything you have been taught about human nature is a comforting lie. They tell you that people are inherently good. They tell you that if you are just kind enough, patient enough, and forgiving enough, everyone will eventually treat you with respect. They tell you that karma will sort it all out, and that the universe rewards the pure of heart. Stop. Stop believing these fairy tales designed to keep you docile. Stop swallowing the toxic positivity that leaves you completely defenseless against the reality of the world. These lies are setting you up for continuous, crushing disappointment. They are the reason you feel so betrayed. Think about the last time you were blindsided. You trusted someone. You gave them your time, your resources, your loyalty. And they threw it back in your face. They lied. They cheated. They manipulated you for their own gain. And you were left standing there, completely bewildered, asking yourself, how could they do this? You know this exact pain. The sickening drop in your stomach when you realize you've been used. The exhausting cycle of giving people the benefit of the doubt, only to be proven wrong again and again. The deep, quiet resentment that builds up when you realize that playing by the nice rules only makes you a target. You feel like a fool. You feel exhausted from constantly trying to find the good in people who only show you the bad. You feel like you are walking through a battlefield without any armor, hoping that everyone else has agreed not to shoot. Modern self-help looks at your bleeding wounds and tells you to try harder. It tells you to communicate better. It tells you to seek to understand. It tells you that their toxic behavior is just a reflection of their own inner pain, and you should have more empathy. What a pathetic, dangerous delusion. This delusion requires you to act as a permanent therapist for people who actively want to drain you. It strips you of your defenses. It demands that you ignore reality in favor of a utopian fantasy that has never existed. When you finally stop expecting people to be perfect, everything changes. When you accept human nature for exactly what it is, flawed, selfish, and utterly predictable, you become untouchable. You stop being a victim of surprise and start becoming a master of strategy. If you are ready to strip away the illusions, if you are ready to forge a mind that cannot be broken by betrayal, hit that subscribe button right now. We are building a generation of realists, and we need your eyes wide open. Let's talk about men who understood the brutal reality of human nature. Let's talk about the Stoics. Let's talk about Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled the known world. He was an emperor surrounded by scheming politicians, greedy generals, and ungrateful subjects. He faced treason from his closest friends. Did he write in his journal about how disappointed he was that people weren't nicer? Did he whine about the lack of fairness in the universe? No. He wrote this to himself every single morning. Begin each day by telling yourself, today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. He didn't just accept human flaws, he anticipated them. He armored his mind against them before his feet even hit the floor. Did the Stoics believe in a utopian society? Did they trust blindly and hope for the best? No. They understood that expecting humans to act against their own self-interest is like expecting a stone to fall upwards. It defies the laws of nature. Modern society is terrifyingly naive. We are conditioned to be shocked by every lie, every scam, every act of selfishness. We are taught to outsource our safety to the goodwill of others. We are instructed to walk around with our hearts exposed, and then we are told to act surprised when someone hands us a knife. The Stoics would look at our shock with profound pity. They understood the ultimate vulnerability of relying on the morality of the mob. They knew that trying to change human nature is a fool's errand. They cultivated radical acceptance. They knew that a wise man does not get angry at a dog for barking. He simply accepts that it is in the dog's nature to bark. And they refuse to let the barking disturb their peace. This is the paradigm shift you must execute immediately. This is where you stop being a bewildered victim and start being a cold, calculating observer. You must stop treating the flaws of others as a personal attack on your existence. Start treating them as absolute, predictable data points. Who are you? Are you a fragile idealist, shattered every time someone fails to live up to your impossible standards? Or are you an iron fortress, entirely indifferent to the chaos and selfishness that swirls outside your walls? Accepting these truths is not about becoming a cynic. Do not confuse what I am saying with becoming bitter and hating the world. Cynicism is the tactic of a coward who has given up. Radical acceptance is the architecture of the elite. It is about clarity. It is about stepping back, looking at human behavior coldly, and saying, of course they did that. It is in their nature. True invincibility is about alignment. It is aligning yourself with the absolute reality that you can only control your own character, and that the character of others is none of your business. That whether they lie, cheat, or betray you, your internal citadel remains utterly unbreached. So how do you actually forge this armor? How do you train your mind to stop being surprised by the inevitable? It requires ruthlessly accepting 7 uncomfortable truths about human nature. Truths that will offend your modern sensibilities. Truths that will hurt your ego. Truth 1: everyone is acting in their own perceived self-interest. Always. Without exception. Even when people do good deeds, they do them because it aligns with their internal narrative, their desire for status, or their need to feel moral. When someone betrays you, it is rarely because they want to destroy you. It is almost always because they are trying to save themselves, advance themselves, or protect themselves. You are just collateral damage. Stop taking it personally. When you realize that their actions are about their survival, not your destruction, the emotional sting vanishes. You stop asking, how could they do this to me, and start asking, what were they trying to gain? When you view behavior through the lens of self-interest, human nature becomes highly predictable. And what is predictable can be managed. Truth 2: gratitude is a massive liability. If you do someone a favor and expect gratitude in return, you are setting a trap for yourself. People hate feeling indebted. It reminds them of their weakness. It reminds them that they needed help. Over time, that feeling of debt curdles into resentment. The more you do for someone, the more likely they are to eventually turn on you. They will find a reason to justify their ingratitude. They will rewrite history to minimize your contribution. This is human nature. The Stoic gives because it is in their nature to be generous, not because they require a receipt of appreciation. If you are going to help someone, do it and immediately write off the debt in your own mind. Expect nothing. If they say thank you, view it as a bonus. If they don't, you are already untouched. Truth 3: words are wind, action is the only truth. People will tell you exactly what you want to hear. They will make promises they have no intention of keeping. They will swear loyalty while actively plotting their exit. They do this because words are cheap and humans are conflict-averse. You must become deaf to their promises. Judge them exclusively by their actions. If they say they value you, but their actions demonstrate disrespect, believe the disrespect. If they say they are committed, but their actions show hesitation, believe the hesitation. Your anxiety comes from trying to reconcile their beautiful words with their ugly actions. Stop listening. Start watching. The body cannot lie as easily as the tongue. Truth 4: people respect boundaries, not niceness. You think that being accommodating, flexible, and endlessly kind will make people respect you. It does the exact opposite. It signals that your time is worthless and your limits are non-existent. Human nature is predatory. People will push until they hit a wall. If there is no wall, they will take everything. You must stop being nice and start being clear. Niceness is a manipulation tactic, it is trying to buy approval. Clarity is a demonstration of power. When you say no firmly, without apology or over-explanation, people may be angry in the moment, but they will respect you in the long run. They fear the person who cannot be easily swayed. Build your walls high, and let them realize you are a fortress, not a doormat. Truth 5, logic rarely changes behavior, emotion rules everything. You cannot argue someone out of a position they did not use logic to get into. When someone is acting irrationally, angrily, or selfishly, they are under the influence of their primal brain. Trying to use facts to change their mind is like trying to teach calculus to a furious animal. Stop wasting your breath. When you encounter intense emotion, withdraw your logic. The Stoic understands that engaging with madness only makes you mad. You do not need to prove them wrong. You do not need to win the debate. Let them be wrong. Let them be irrational. Your peace is far more valuable than the desperate need to be right in the eyes of a fool. Truth 6, proximity breeds contempt. We want to believe that the closer we get to people, the better it will be. But human nature craves novelty and despises the familiar. When you are always available, always present, and completely transparent, your value plummets. You become common. You must master the art of strategic absence. Do not give anyone complete access to your mind or your time. Retain an aura of mystery. When you step back, you force them to realize your value. The Stoic does not cling. The Stoic stands whole, complete, and perfectly comfortable in solitude. When you show people that you do not desperately need their company, they will respect your presence infinitely more. Truth 7, everyone wears a mask. You do not know the people around you. Not truly. You only know the version of themselves they have curated for your consumption. Underneath the polite smiles, the professional emails, and the friendly banter, there is a chaotic storm of insecurities, dark desires, and suppressed rage. Do not be shocked when the mask slips. When the perfect couple gets a vicious divorce. When the honest employee steals from the company. When the loyal friend spreads a rumor. They didn't suddenly become monsters, you just finally saw their face. Expect the mask to slip. Anticipate the darkness. When you know the monster is there, you are never surprised when it roars. You have been living in a fantasy world. You have been exhausting yourself trying to force humans to act like angels. You have been begging the world to be fair. It is time to wake up. It is time to establish absolute realism in your mind. You cannot control their selfishness. You cannot control their lies. You cannot control the inevitable betrayals that will occur. But you have absolute, dictatorial control over your reaction to them. You can cultivate a mind so grounded in reality, so fortified against surprise, that human flaws simply bounce off your armor. Let the fragile continue to weep over broken promises. Let them exhaust themselves trying to fix people who do not want to be fixed. Let them consume endless content about how to manifest a world where everyone is nice. You are walking away from the delusion. You are stepping into the cold, sharp reality of the Stoics. You are choosing the path of absolute mental sovereignty. Accept the flaws. Anticipate the betrayal. Remain utterly calm when the masks fall. Do the work. Forge the mind. Stand firm. And when human nature inevitably reveals its dark side, do not break. Do not bend. Do not flinch. The world cannot manipulate a man who sees exactly what it is. Retreat into the citadel. Let them play their games outside.